So in the previous video, we talked about being able to send emails to people, assuming you had a list of email addresses. But maybe, sending the email addresses like this might be a bit of a hassle, and maybe you already have a predefined file somewhere else. Maybe it's in a spreadsheet or something like that. So we're going to, let's pretend for a second that you have, oh, and by the way, I did fix the spelling for recipients. I missed an I there. So let's say we have, a file called contacts.txt. Maybe you copied and pasted this into your Word edit or something, or maybe copied from a spreadsheet. Doesn't really matter how you actually got it. Let's just say this file exists. And let's say it's nicely defined such that you have one email address per line. And so what I mean by that is that person1 at example.com, person2 at example.com, person3 at example.com, and so on and so forth. Okay. So we want to be able to say, for every single person on this list, you want to be able to email them. Okay. And we'll talk about what to do, for example, if you have a random extra line at the bottom in the next video. But for now, let's just say every single line of this file does indeed have, new line. Okay. So this open function that we talked about before, it can open files. And we don't actually have to just load things from a JSON file. One thing we can do actually is we can load our recipients from a JSON file. And so we can say open contacts.txt, and we can say this is our contacts file, and then we have to do something to that contacts file. And so what we're going to be doing is we want to read lines, and the function for this is .read lines, and if I hover my mouse over it, we'll see that this is a function that returns a list of strings. And so we'll actually rename this to recipients. Okay. And so now from recipients we have this list. I do want to point out though that we actually have made a mistake here. And so in computer programming, new lines are actually considered a character. And so your new line character will actually be included in each line of this recipient. And so something we want to do is we want to update recipient such that we want to remove the extra characters on the beginning and the end. And so Python actually provides this nice function for us called strip, which will remove the beginning and ending white space. In this case, it'll also include or remove the new lines. And one more thing. So after every send mail, we actually want to pause for a second, because if we try to send all of them at once, Google will ban us, and we don't want our email banned, obviously, especially since if you're trying to use this for legitimate purposes and not just, spam people. And so we're going to use time.sleep, and inside time.sleep, you need to give it a number of seconds. And the seconds is a number, and typically we might use like 5 seconds. And so your program will wait 5 seconds between sending every single email. Personally, if you're going to be sending a lot of emails, I think you should wait a little bit longer, like 15 seconds. And you can even, and since 15 seconds is a bit of a long time for your program to be running, if you have sending a lot of emails, you can be like print, and don't forget we have format strings. So format string, successfully sent email to recipient. And to prove that this is working, I'm going to comment out the send mail, so it's not actually going to send the email. But we'll be able to run the program anyways to see exactly what's going on. And so it'll send the first email to person1 at example.com, and I'm going to have to talk through about 15 seconds before we'll see person2 at email.com, because we've set time.sleep to 15 seconds. But so I'm just going to quickly go over everything we've done so far. And there's the person2. And so we can actually see this is working, but to quickly recap everything we've done so far, we added the strip, we added the sleep, we also added a little print so we know the progress of our command. In the future we can also look at adding a progress bar, but that's going to be a little bit of a slightly more intermediate topic after you've completed your very first beginner program. So yeah, that's going to be the end of this video.